Hello to all you patriots out there in podcast land, and welcome to episode 462 of Canadian Patriot Podcast, the number one live podcast in Canada, recorded November 24th, 2025.
We need your help. To support Canadian Patriot Podcast, visit patreon.com/CPP and become a Patreon. You can get a better quality version of the show for just $1 per episode. Show you're not a communist, buy a CPP t-shirt for just $24.99 plus shipping and theft. Visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com homepage and follow the link on the right.
Excellent. That brings us to our favorite segment of the show. What are we drinking? And something that you've done off the Patriot Challenge. And as is tradition, we will start with Liz, because she's here today.
I was like, this tradition has had a long pause, it sounds like.
Yeah, well, a
Um,
lot of traditional things have unfortunately had a bit of a pause every now and again, but
it's true, it's true. Well, I couldn't jump on without having something a little bit traditional, so I'm having Thistley Cross, which is a Scottish cider made in whiskey casks. It's really good.
that does sound
Nice.
pretty tasty. That's some of my favorite things.
I
I didn't
know,
realize
right?
I didn't realize that thistle was actually like the national flower of Scotland or whatever.
Yeah, they have a
Yeah,
whole song about it and everything.
Yeah, and I was just like, of course, the wife was like giving me a smack and then giving me a correction on that one. But I, I mean, it makes sense, right? Like they're prickly, they're tough, they're hard to kill.
yeah,
Like they just yeah, it
Yeah,
just so fits, right?
yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
It
it's
is
so good.
true.
Yeah,
yeah.
it
Yeah,
gives the English people a hard time every time they walk through Scotland. It makes sense. Anyway,
it's true. It's true. But anything on the Patriot? Oh man, I definitely not haven't drank my water today. I don't know, I've been walking. I haven't driven a vehicle in like 4 months, so I've been walking everywhere.
That's it's very green of you.
I
Very
don't give a
low
shit.
carbon,
I'm
very
like,
low carbon footprint.
no.
Carney will be happy with you.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. Yeah.
Well,
Okay, Ian, you're up.
All right. Well, sad day. Last of the Kubota sake. So the tractor sake is finally done. So I just poured myself a very tall glass, and
It's a very big bottle.
yeah, I said I was only gonna have one, right? So, but it took me actually four Patriot podcasts to get through this, believe it or not. Anyways, yeah, so straight from Costco in Japan, some Kubota sake, and Patriot Challenge, all on ice, of course, because it's cold, just like me. Anyway, let's see here, Patriot Challenge. Haven't been walking as much as I should because the two old boys, the two old dogs, are actually having a tough time walking. So, that's actually cut into my Patriot stuff for that. Lots of water, of course. I did take the time to talk to the Conservative Party of Canada today and explain to them why they're not actually a Conservative Party anymore and why I won't be giving them money because they decided to phone me. So I thought I'd just maybe that's a Patriot thing or something. I don't know, but
no, yeah, no,
yeah, no, it works. Let's see here else. Lots of reading and lots of studying on a second language. So I mean, that's no knowledge is wasted, right?
yeah, nice.
And as a matter of fact, my wife is learning Scottish Gaelic as we speak.
That's like that's awesome. There's a lot of people and a lot of programs that encourage that. I couldn't believe in the Highlands that the all the street signs are bilingual, but with Gaelic.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the last time I went over there, I went to a few places where people still like actively speak it, like as their first language, not just like because they had to in school. Like, no, this weird little town. Same in Wales, there's some of the little towns there, like the more rural ones, where like, yeah, they speak Welsh as a first language, and
I
it's
find I'm
weird.
falling. I'm falling behind. I should probably actually take a Welsh or something just to keep pace or something. But
Yeah.
anyway,
Good exercise for the like the mouth of like the lips and the gums and all that because of the
yeah,
weird like
I guess you have to develop a hate for vowels too or something. I don't know.
yeah.
But anyway, I'll put yourself down. What are you up to?
Um, I am drinking some Crown Royal and Diet Pepsi this evening. Finished off the last couple of bottles of Crown Royal. I had like some dregs and a few different, so kind of did one of those things. Um, Doug, poured out all of my other Crown Royal bottles, so still can't get any Jack Daniels either in this fucking country, or at least not in Ontario. But
We'll make it happen.
yeah, So that's what I'm drinking. Patriot Challenge stuff. Yeah, definitely still doing my reading. Met my reading goal last episode, so a couple weeks ago. But have finished another book since then, and I'm mostly done another book. So I'm going to keep going as the year progresses. So I will be, more than meeting my reading goal, but I'm not giving up on reading because I met my goal, because you know that would be cheating. But um, other things that I've done, honestly, not a lot. I've been busy,
That's fair.
just kind of. I was in Mexico recently for work.
For work.
Yeah.
Got it.
It was a work reward trip. So like there was the
Oh,
mandatory 1 hour meeting and then a
right.
couple of cocktail parties. So I guess I improved my fighting position by working on my tan and my tolerance to alcohol by the pool. Those are
I
important
mean,
things, right?
vitamin D, so
Yeah.
Well, and
healthy.
I think you're also working on like crowd surveillance and or protective
Yeah.
services recently as
And
well.
I
So I
had
guess.
3 customers there who I had to interact with. So like,
Ooh,
We had the people, huh?
yeah, yeah.
wow.
So it was tough, but somebody had to do it. We'd love to hear your feedback about the show. So please visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com/feedback or email us at feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. Apparently, some of those things may or may not work, but I'm sure you can figure out how to get a hold of us if you really want to. There are no upcoming events other than Christmas and New Year's. Celebrate as you will. The news.
I plan on
Um,
it.
I didn't actually expect anyone to read this first article because it's by
I
Elizabeth
did.
May. And her crazy reasoning, but I put it in there because I did want to touch briefly on the budget and the vote and all of that shenanigans.
Oh,
I know that nobody here thought it was actually gonna like not pass. I mean, there was maybe some hopes, but it's like that, just like you hope that the liberals weren't going to win the election in general and a
Yeah.
bunch of other things where you're like, you have to still have some hope, but
Yeah.
it's not going to happen. So yes, the budget did not pass. It lost by like 2 votes because a bunch of people abstained, including the
Andrew
one,
Scheer.
well, yeah, and the other conservative person abstained, not the one that crossed the floor because they voted for the budget, but the other one that like decided to step down. I mean, technically they're still in. They could have voted, but they didn't.
Well, fun fact about that, which I
But
didn't realize until actually I had to ask Andrew about that. But when they're actually holding a vote, they lock the House of Commons. Like, so you're not allowed in or out. And so Andrew Scheer and the other dude there that did that abstained, they were actually hiding behind the curtain. You could see the elbow of a couple of them. They were waiting to see how the vote went, and then came in and claimed technical difficulties just to make sure that the budget passed, and then they voted later on. Um, so they were in the room, but they chose not to vote, and just to make sure it passed, and then came in and said, "Oh yeah, well I was gonna vote, yeah, against it. Yeah, yeah, that's it." And it didn't matter at that point. And
yeah,
there was lots of shenanigans, not the least of which is, you know, a little bit of screen party here, but
yeah. I,
Yeah.
I,
That article.
well, yeah. I mean, it's Dizzy Lizzy, right? Like she's crazy
Yeah.
and a crazy alcoholic and all that. So I mean, I kind of put it in there for anyone that does read the show notes because it would be hilarious trying to see her explain why she voted for it because it somehow makes her a better person or whatever. But like,
well, she literally not even a week before was saying about how Mark Carney had lied to her before, during, and after the election, and how he constantly lies to her, and he's not doesn't care about the environment,
That's
and
in that's
yeah,
in the article. Like,
yeah, and yet she's like, but all that being said, I'm gonna trust him this time.
yeah, literally. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, this woman is, I just struggle to take her seriously in any capacity because she's sitting there tarped with some like indigenous scarf, being like, hey, you know, this needs to happen.
yeah,
This is a thing. Um, all that stuff. And then she's like, I don't know. I consulted with some people and she like listed what's his name, Steve Gabalt or whatever. I'm like, you want to be tied to that guy?
Oh, one of the
I thought
biggest
we
pieces
already
of shit
just
in Parliament? Yeah,
I was like,
please.
I
Yeah.
thought we already decided that he was like useless. I was like, this is turning into a whole new like scandal system. And she's just trying really hard. Do you know what it is? Is that she got her chance to ask a question during question period and she was super stoked about it. And she's like, you know, give me my 15 minutes of fame, I'll, oh gosh, that woman.
Well, the interesting thing is,
She's
like, she is the poster child for, the old saying where bikers are just nice people pretending to be mean, and hippies are mean people pretending to be nice. And
Oh,
yeah, no, she 100%, personifies that because she is got to be the nastiest piece of work in Parliament, and yet she's still clinging onto this whole like, better than thou attitude, despite the
of
fact that she's
course.
nicknamed like Gin Lizzy. But
Yeah.
oh, it's
It's
amazing.
brutal. Hey, Ian, you got to turn up your volume. You got some requests in the comments.
Oh no. All right.
yeah.
I mean,
The,
a
the problem
request.
the problem is gonna get very angry at you. But it's okay.
Yep.
Just show your disdain for the listening audience.
Yeah.
There you
I
go. But yeah, like
how
she's
about yourself?
just no, I think you're better now. I think it might have just been a microphone distance issue.
All right. Probably because I was moving out of the way for the drinking aspect, but that's fine.
Yeah. Well, maybe he'll like
Just
the
get a straw.
ASMR of you drinking. Just like
Yeah, I was gonna.
hearing it turn into
Yeah,
one of
where's your
those
nails?
podcasts.
Wait, I don't even have nails, but
But yeah, she's so like out of touch with everything. It's incredible that she actually wins a seat still.
Well, I think it's
yeah,
just
but
because people don't. It's name recognition at this point. Like
yeah.
she is the Central Islands candidate, and that's just they don't know any better.
Yeah.
Well, I also think, no offense, but when all the boomers are gone, I think it's going to be a vastly different, political dynamic and voting pool, because at this point, like that's one thing that people underestimate. I think some people underestimate in boomers is the loyalty aspect. It's the same reason why they stayed in jobs for 25 years plus. They
Oh,
voted the same way for their whole life, and it was
agreed.
because that's what their parents did. That's what, that's just what people did, you know, um, all of that stuff.
I
But
think we reached peak boomer at this point.
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I think from
They've
now
out
on,
boomered themselves, right? Like
yeah.
it's
Well,
yeah,
like
no, I think that the fact is that like no offense, but like the clock doesn't lie, and sure enough, as they start
yeah.
to die off, they have less and less influence. And I
Well,
mean,
that's what I mean.
the next generation is obviously far more right leaning than they were, and
That's
I
because
think
we're fucking cynical.
I just
and
it's and also
and
because I don't think you could be any more left leaning. Like it is
yeah,
physically
Yeah,
impossible.
and I mean, like first generation immigrants tend to vote left. Second generation immigrants
yeah.
tend to vote very right. And so I think as you're going to see some very shifting demographics, and I don't think any of the newcomers to Canada that are currently newcomers give two squirts of pee about the same um, issues that the boomers did. So I mean, they're not going to want to pander to
Hmm.
Quebec. They're not going to want to pander to the indigenous. They're not going to want to pander to, like social programs that benefit just themselves and pass the debt on to their grandkids. Because a lot of these newcomers to Canada do actually think generationally and do worry about like leaving their kids in debt. And so
Yeah.
it's going to be very interesting to see how that works. But
Well, and also a lot of folks that have come in, you know, with some shred of integrity. Um, a lot of folks that have come to Canada with a mentality of like better life, that sort of thing. Um, they've been fed a line of, hey, it's a great place to live, great opportunities, that sort of thing. But they're also acutely aware as soon as they come in that the dollars from home don't last as long, don't stretch as far, don't do as much as they did here, as they do
Well,
here,
and so this is
right?
part of the thing is that like a lot of people were talking about this whole sort of confidence vote and all of that, and like it was the like, oh well, they didn't vote against the budget because if they did, it would have triggered an election, and if it had triggered an election, then Carney would have got a majority. And
Right.
I I don't know, like I I don't think it would have been much different. I would like to think that like because it's so hard to tell these days, like because the news is fucking useless and social media is even worse. But like everywhere on Facebook, I'm seeing posts about how like people dislike the conservatives and Oliver and his own party doesn't like
Yeah.
him and all this. And I'm like, but it seems like it's too much and too strong where it's like this has gotta just be like people shilling for money and just like all of this just garbage coming out because it's like there can't be that many people that dislike the guy that much, especially given the results of the election where like he got more votes as a conservative than any conservative person has got in the past.
Well, like, I mean, not that Ontario
Uh,
is a great example because they tend to vote, Tory,
yeah.
provincially and that Liberal federally. But I mean, like, look at Newfoundland's results. You can't tell me that Newfoundland won't go slightly conservative, judging by their provincial election results.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's already got a de facto majority right now because people keep on supporting him. So it's just like before with the NDP,
Yeah.
coalition. So
But yeah, it's just so hard to tell what's actually going on and what's not going on because there's so much nonsense out there that like
Can we not just go back to like a feudal state, please? I'd like
yes.
people to physically battle out for this position
well, and the best
because
part is like
I don't trust voting polls. Like I don't trust voting
Right.
systems anymore.
well,
Might
and at
might
least
Call
at
me
is
least
right.
cynical.
Yeah.
and at least kings are worried about keeping their wealth for the next generation.
Yeah.
Like they're not
Yeah.
worried
Well, and they
about.
understand the system. Like I can't really survive without, like all the layers underneath me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like there's a whole process,
they
man.
have a vested interest
And
in improving their fighting position.
Yeah.
We'll put it that way.
I accept
something to
this
that.
and
I mean,
I
I'm not
install
really
myself
excited
as
about
warlord of
becoming.
my neighborhood.
I was gonna say, it's like I don't really like the idea of becoming what like women were during that time, but I'll make my own rules.
I do believe there's somebody called Boudica there. Boudica,
It's true.
Boudicca,
Yes.
whatever. You know what I'm trying to
You're
Yeah.
say.
onto it.
Yeah.
Yep, you're onto
Yeah.
it. It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
I just think that like it's really hard to kind of gauge at this point because anytime you look at like this budget is a really interesting example because people en masse are generally not interested in the minutia, which they consider this kind of thing.
Well, I don't
You
think
know,
anything in this budget is minutia. I think it is
no, but
all
people
massive failures.
understanding
Oh,
it.
I know.
Yeah, but
But
people
like,
don't understand it and engage in it. Mass populace, like it's a small amount of people that actually take the time to pay attention to this stuff.
oh, and it's
And
such a like of all of the things that the government does, the budget is the most boring thing that they do
it
because there's
is.
so much nonsense in it. And it's like, oh, you got this and you got this, and we're
Hmm.
gonna give more money to this. And like, what was the one that I saw the other day? Like gender balanced water or some bullshit for like other people. Like it's like
Oh, gender just rice.
no, that one's been out for a while. It was another gender balanced thing, I think about water or something, or like
Either
not the
way,
rice one,
here's
which
the
is
thing.
ridiculous, but like that's
Call
old news
call
now.
me call me stupid, but like you can't broker good trade between your closest neighbor and you're sending money to different countries for dumb shit. Like,
Yeah.
I have zero confidence in the capacity for them to manage our ever-growing debt load. Like, there's a reason why emigration is at an all-time high.
Well,
Like,
we're
Yeah.
borrowing money from China to give aid to China.
Yeah.
right. Like it's the most ridiculous thing.
It's
If
win-win.
anything, take note from countries like China because
Yeah.
like they're like, "Hey, these suckers, we've got them."
Yeah. We're borrowing
You
it from
know?
them and then giving it back to them in aid, and then they're using that
Yeah.
money to then go and buy up US debt, which they will call in later and
Oh,
rule the whole world.
and physical gold.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, because what was that? The whole thing, I saw a clip about, the US essentially making it so that they can erase their debt at some point. Because if it's crypto and, like certain different methods of debt, I guess, solvency or whatever, I'm not a finance person, but, it's easier to kind of erase it, right? So you're kind of just buying debt or you're, taking a loan from
Yeah.
somewhere and then just being like, I'm going to devalue it because there's nothing really backing it,
Oh, you're
right?
talking about the fact that they've been exporting their inflation. It used to be via having to pay for gold or for oil in U.S. dollars, but they switched
Yeah,
that now to other currencies and gold. But now the interesting thing is Bitcoin was the new way to export
yeah.
inflation. However, now they're talking about revaluing the gold in Fort Knox, which has been at a pegged rate of like I think $40 an ounce for the last 60 years, and they're going to change it
Mm,
to the market rate. And so if that's the case, then that pretty much erases the U.S. debt because of what they supposedly hold in Knox. So
Yeah.
yeah, they're figuring out
yeah.
ways to erase their debt. So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is, I mean, I think I think everybody knows that the way that these guys do finance is going to create some
Yeah.
bad problems. Like, I don't know, name a country I try not to get too heavy into international politics, but I do. There's only a few countries that are actually making the right steps to haul themselves out of the pit. Like,
Yeah.
I think Argentina is pretty much one of the best. Is it Argentina? Venezuela? Yeah, it's Argentina. It's
Yeah.
got Milei,
Well,
right?
Yeah.
And he
after
pretty
their
much,
19th collapse, about time they sorted themselves out, right?
Yeah.
well, but that's the point. Like, do we have to get to that far? Or
Yes.
you see like Venezuela, where it's like
Yes. Yeah.
you get more productivity using the paper money to build things than you do the actual currency, right?
Yeah, no, we're gonna have to go through
So
things have to get a lot worse in Canada before they're gonna get a lot better
Yeah.
because people just haven't felt the pinch yet.
of
Yeah.
course not. People still have two vehicles in their driveway
Yeah.
and, living on hockey on the weekends and
Yeah.
coffees and
We
Well,
haven't
there's
all
had to
that kind of
resort to
stuff.
eating zoo
Yeah,
animals yet.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're sticking to sports ball talk, so I mean that tells you they've got it too good still. I mean, as
Yeah.
soon as they
yeah,
start talking about where they're getting their next meal, then you got it.
yeah,
It might get better.
absolutely. Absolutely. It's
Wow.
oof,
So we'll
brutal.
move on to the next one here, where our old buddy Gary,
Gary,
the
Gary.
Tamil Tiger. This guy has
Uh,
got like I will give him this. This guy has got to have so much confidence in himself to be
okay.
able to pull this off. Because like he's already announcing that they're going ahead with the national program after the pilot program when the official results aren't even in yet. And what
Yeah,
results we have heard have been like
awful.
abysmal at
Abysmal.
best. And he's still just like, nope, we're going ahead for it. So either this guy is like the most confident man in the world, or this just proves that it's all bullshit.
It could be both.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was gonna say, I was like, why not both? Um,
Yeah.
I think, like, I think it should have been a giant red flag that Buddy didn't even know what the credentials were at the beginning of his term. Um, that should have given everybody a bit of a head shake. But was there not some police chiefs and like regional law enforcement that were really pushing back and like didn't one step down over this as well?
Yeah.
And
So there
or is
was
that
some
just like in
so I
my
guess it
head?
was Gary's brother-in-law was the police chief.
Oh
Well,
shit.
it was
Christmas is gonna be uncomfortable.
yeah, it was actually a Nova Scotia MP's brother-in-law was the chief in charge of that
Yes.
initial pilot program. Now it got so bad that coincidentally now he's retiring January 1st.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Complete coincidence, but anyway,
Hmm.
yeah, no. So it's just funny because like I mean the OPP has said no. Alberta
Yeah.
obviously has said no. Most regional police stations or services and everything else they've all said no. Only like certain places like BC and everything else has said
Yeah.
yeah that will totally
Sounds about
support it,
right.
but because they can't afford it, they don't have the extra resources to deal with this. And after getting
Yeah.
22 guns or something like that from the Nova Scotia pilot program, which is 1/10 of what they were going to pay for, which is 200. I mean, but in reality, they figured there's 20,000 guns that were on the ban list in that area.
Yeah.
They're going to pay for 200. They got 22, which means in reality they got about 0.01% of the actual guns covered under the ban, and yet
But
that's a
Yeah.
success.
do you know what? But okay, did you read the article, like the logic that he explains in there? He's like, but just imagine if you multiply that 22 by every other region, that's a lot of guns.
Yeah, that's like 400.
Like, Yeah,
Yeah.
he and I was just like, okay, your math is great if you're talking about like, marbles, but like it's no, it's the it the absurdity.
Oh,
The
absolutely.
absurdity.
Right.
And
Like,
I'm actually kind of proud of the fact that Canadians did not comply. Um,
yes.
Not that they broke
Well,
any laws or anything else, because they're still technically under an amnesty. But I'm happy to say that they did not comply
Yes.
because, they can forego a little bit of cash and maybe they'll comply later. I'm just saying they're not breaking any laws.
but you
However,
know what? I'd like to think that the people that are kind of this demographic are not the type to be like, I love my government. I'm going to trust them on this.
I guarantee you those 22 weapons were handed in. They were all like in-laws or cousins of that
Yeah.
police chief, and they're trying to help
Yeah.
him out and support him. And everybody
Or
else
or
is
maybe
Yeah.
it was a couple of people that had something that was registered and was actually worth a significant amount of money, and they were like, you know what? I'm gonna get my couple of bucks while I can.
Sure.
Like, and I
Yep.
don't necessarily fault them, but I am glad that it was like up to 22 out of the expected 200, which is a terrible
Yeah.
return rate. Like,
Oh,
but
excuse me.
like
yeah,
It's
amazing.
wild.
yeah,
It's
it was
wild.
abysmal failure, but they're going to carry on anyways. And again, because they got to show they're doing something, and that's what gets the
Yeah.
voters is they're doing something. They're not successful. They're just doing something.
Yes.
Right. And
Which
to the
is
average,
basically the modus operandi for the Liberal Party. We're doing
yeah.
something, but it's not
Yeah.
effective. It might as well be their slogan.
But to the person who maybe doesn't even understand, like they just hear firearms or guns and they get like
Yeah.
extremely, jacked up and whatever about it. That might seem like a lot. That might, it's that actionability. It's the using language that's inflammatory, you know? It's
Yeah.
just it's the most ridiculous process ever. And I mean, the other side of it too, ain't no way that I am willingly, I mean, I'm on a podcast on YouTube,
Yeah. Don't
and
admit
I'm clearly in the
to
system.
doing a crime.
Oh no. Okay,
Oh,
no, no, no.
There's
No,
no
no,
crimes currently in
no.
progress. We're under amnesty. It's all good. I'm
yes,
sure
I
when it
Yeah,
will.
comes,
no, but
Liz
I
will be
think
fully
it's
compliant.
Yes.
oh yeah, 100%. That's my style. Um, no, but I think that like people don't realize as well is that, when, they decide, oh, hey, we're gonna go back through the system and we're gonna start knocking on doors. Um, you're in the system already. Like, I mean, we're all in the system already
Yeah.
if you're licensed, registered, that sort of thing. But if you go and return your firearm, you're in another system,
Oh, yeah.
right? And like, I just can't imagine that that's gonna turn out well for
No,
anybody.
you're now on like the shit list for being a gun owner, but you're also now on the cuck
Absolutely.
list for turning them in.
Yeah, so
And
you're
so
gonna be the
like,
first one that's like, "Who do you know?" They're gonna come
well,
up to you and be like,
or the next
"Snitch
time
on
there's
your
some
neighbors. Snitch
random
on your
thing
neighbors."
that they're going to make people comply to, you're going to be at the
Exactly.
top of that list because they know that one, you're
You
willing to
will.
comply and you don't have guns anymore.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, you're going to, do the Canadian thing. You're going to just like follow the rules and be polite about it. And, you know,
It's almost like
I think
registration leads to confiscation every time.
yeah, every
what?
single time.
Yeah,
What?
yeah,
That's
Yeah.
so odd.
yeah,
So odd. Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, I am glad that this pilot program has gone so poorly. Not that I think that's going to stop them from trying, and clearly it's not because Gary's there puffing up his cheeks to making himself look tough and bigger than he is
Yeah.
to try to scare people.
I think that's just because he's eaten too many Turkish delights, to be
Actually,
honest.
I've heard that's because of kidney failure, or liver failure, liver failure. It's actually it's actually a medical sign having those cheeks like that. It's actually
But you would have thought
Like
that,
chipmunk cheeks?
yeah.
well, you would have thought that Bill Blair would have got that one before he did.
Well, no, he's got the pog. There's a whole different thing there. But anyway,
Yeah.
speaking of things that haven't worked out well so far,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
All right.
that's the whole thing.
Yeah. Alberta agrees to broad outlines of energy deal, including support for pipelines.
Okay, I just have something to say about this because it's been itching on me since I read this. I think that we all expected this to happen, but like it's just very glaring that all this green energy kind of thing, obviously greenwashing, it is absolute bullshit because all Carney did was say like, "Hey, you can do this if you pay more." Like that's
Well, and pay more to his companies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes,
And
Yeah.
that
yes,
like, don't worry, he's going to fast track these infrastructure projects that have already been okayed.
Yeah.
oh yeah, the
And the
whole
best part
thing.
is, and we still have the BC Premier saying, nope, 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 there's no path line, unless the government pays for it. Well, they clearly the government's gonna like chip in for it, but EB's
Yeah.
doing his best in BC to say that it's never gonna happen. He's getting the hereditary chiefs on board, yet the local chiefs are actually elected, all want the pipeline, and yet,
Yeah.
yeah. So, but they're still saying it's not gonna happen out here, but of course, but it's totally gonna happen. So
Well, yeah,
Oh yeah.
because I mean, if they're banning all of the ships or whatever that they're doing, then how else are they going to get the stuff there?
basically, I think unless they want Alberta to actually separate, they're going to have this multiple pipelines running, and not
Yeah.
just this one. Like I mean, like
Yep.
yeah, because I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, it just
le-
I think it just shows though how fucking greedy our politicians are.
well, and not to mention the fact that I'm looking at this picture of Smith and Carney shaking hands there,
Oh,
and I
it's
realize, and not, it's cheesy as hell to begin with, but the best part is like everything in that picture is derived from oil, from the flags to the suits,
Oh yeah.
to the
yeah.
hairspray to the painting to the everything
Yeah.
else, the plastic
Yeah.
behind them. It's like if it wasn't for oil pipelines, those people would be naked and shaking hands in
If
front of
you
their. Yeah,
if you
Yeah.
it's
ever if you ever want to watch a good show, watch Landman. It's it's about oil and gas in Texas and it's got Billy Bob Thornton in it and he's just savage and he pretty much makes the same argument, you
yeah,
know? And it's I mean there's other things about the show that I dislike, but you know, it's, it's a
yeah,
little Wild West oil production, right?
and we
And
need it for everything. So
yeah,
Yeah. And who the fuck came up with this Pathways Alliance of oil sands companies? Like,
I was very confused about that. I was like,
that
I
is
was
like they're
tempted to like look it up, but then I was like, this is a rabbit hole
can,
that I'm gonna end up
no,
down.
that
can
is
they
the best attempt at a Canadian version of a political action committee in Canada, but much
Well,
more
I kind
polite,
of
I guess.
wondered. It's
Yes,
can
kind of
they
much more
like
just
polite.
OPEC, but
No,
like
no, it's kind of like
Canadian.
it's kind of like imagine if Chevron and Esso and everybody got together and said, okay, we need to do
Got
something as best
yeah,
as we can to greenwash it, but still get our same job done. And they're
can they
trying their
just
best.
call it like nephews of politicians? Because that's probably what it is.
That
It's
would have been
like
better, yeah.
it's like,
And they're
okay, you guys could
yeah.
do this, but we need to have one of our nephews on the board as well as all of the oil companies, and that way we can embezzle more money.
Oh, excuse me.
Because yeah, now, oh yeah, we could do this, but yeah, you have to buy all this carbon capture nonsense from them. When
basically
Yeah.
like,
if it enriches Kearney and the Pathways Alliance, then it's gonna
yeah,
happen.
yeah. Well, I'm sure Brookfield has a piece of that somewhere in there.
I gotta buy stock in Brookfield. I don't know why I haven't yet, but
Yeah, like I mean, you may as well, like, if you can't beat
yeah.
them, join them, right? So we
Ian's
may as well all,
on the web now.
yeah,
Do it.
screw investing in gold. Just buy shares
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
Brookfield.
It's do you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that Twitter account that was all about what's her name's investments.
Oh, Pelosi's.
Pelosi. Yeah. They
Yeah.
just tracked all of
She's
Nancy
outperformed
Pelosi's.
Warren Buffett for frick's sakes. I mean, like
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like
she
people
It's
doesn't
were
speak
just
from
weird,
a book of
yeah.
mud.
following what
Yeah,
she was doing because they're like, hey, it's like that not only is corruption involved, but that very much feels like insider trading in a very legal way.
it's different when
Yeah.
they do it though.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's fine. It's
No, but
they're
the average person was like making light of it, you know? Follow the
yeah.
people that are making the money if that's what you want to do.
Yeah,
It's
like
wild though.
it's weird seeing these two shake hands though.
Yeah.
I
He
mean, I
also
get it.
looks like a happy pig in shit. He's got a bit of a
Well, yeah, because he knows that like his retirement fund just got a massive fucking boost.
Well, I
What do
think
you
it's
think
called.
somebody said to get them making that face in that photo?
I think it's
Money?
called. Yeah, it's Duper's delight. There's actually a
Yeah.
psychological behavior called that, and it's
Oh.
actually if you Google Duper's delight, it has something to do with the person being a psychopath and everything else. It's actually pretty cool.
Oh.
Yeah. I hate like we need these pipelines. Like so it needs to get done. I just hate the way
Yeah.
that it gets done because it's like
Yes. Shady.
they're doing the right thing, but they're doing it in the worst way possible.
Yes.
Like, and there's so many people's pockets that are going to get lined with this, but none of those people are actually going to do anything useful.
Well, it sounds exactly
Accurate.
like Canadian politics in a nutshell, right there. It's like they're doing it in
Yeah,
the worst way possible with the wrong people getting rich.
yeah.
Yeah.
And yet somehow, I'm sure when it's all said and done, it's still not going to be like good enough or do what it's supposed to do either. So it's just like,
Well, it's
uh,
kind of like buying new fighter jets for the military. It's going to be a complete gong show, and
it's okay
buying
though. We're totally talking about buying different ones now and probably canceling the ones that we have on order again.
yeah, and don't worry because the ones they're going to buy are already obsolete, but that's okay.
Well,
Yeah.
I hate this
Wow.
timeline.
Yeah. Not my
Well,
favorite.
Yeah, more things that I hate. And that don't make sense to me. And says Canada taking public safety seriously as it pursues trade deal with India. So I don't know why this person is talking about public safety when that's Gary's job.
Well, because of what happened to
Yeah,
that
but like,
Sikh. Okay, so this whole article, though, I was like, what are we actually
hmm,
talking about? Are we talking about a
but
trade deal with India? Are we talking about how a Sikh activist who I'm not entirely convinced I am sure what it is that they were activisting
but
about, but they got killed in Canada.
it's
And
okay though because we just let another one off for having a gun.
yeah.
right.
Yeah,
But it doesn't make sense to me because okay, so total tangential statement or
yeah,
comment question. What was that guy actually like advocating for? Like a Sikh Punjabi, like was it their own like
yeah.
state in Canada or in
No, no, no.
India?
No,
Like
in
I'm
India.
very confused.
They want their
Oh,
own Sikh
so
area.
right, because there's like Muslim, there's like, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, that's Pakistan, but
yeah,
So
but
they're
there's like a
okay.
they're doing a non-binding resolution to create Khalistan in India,
yeah,
which is basically like somebody voted on something that Canada should do in another country, and they're expecting it to
Yeah,
get traction,
yeah.
right?
thank you. Thank you. Because I was like, what does Canada have to do with this? So then because of that, I actually think it has a lot more to do with the fact that
But that's
India like pretty much banned Trudeau, that they're trying to
yeah.
like pussyfoot around this like whole dynamic.
Well,
And
but
the only reason
all
that
of
India
this,
is entertaining it is because they're an emerging market that's like, hey,
yeah, but all of the,
these
like
guys
none of
are
this makes
idiots.
sense.
Let's
Like if we're talking like about taking public safety seriously, the public safety minister should be the one speaking on it. But he's too busy talking about building houses, which is not his fucking portfolio at all. And somehow he has all the time in the world to do that. But hiring border security people is also not part of his job, even though it is. But they keep telling you that they will do
let's
it.
let's
And
have a
then,
conversation about public safety for a second because it's now garbage.
yes. And
I
we're taking it seriously, even though we're dealing with India, even though India, along with China, are the two people that have fucked around with our elections, and not just the
yeah.
last one, the last several elections. And we have
Not
yet to
only
do
that,
anything
like
about it,
global
and we
pandemic,
have
all
yet to
the
name
things.
names. Some of those
I'll name
people
names.
might still be in government right now.
Right.
Or
But
receiving a pension.
Yeah.
yeah, but let's have a conversation about just like general public safety at this point because they're so worried about these 22 firearms, confiscation, yada yada,
Yeah.
etc. They've got um illegal immigrants coming in like mad. They've got, well, it's not even illegal because when you've got like a one button system, like I thought about downloading the app and trying it just to see how easy it was,
Yeah, just get
right?
one button
Like,
push and get your 82,000 a year done.
yeah, I was
Yeah.
like, what? Why, why
And
on
no
earth?
medical checks now.
Right. And it's a self-declaration. It's a self-declaration. That's it. Right? So it's the most asinine system ever. And it's unbelievable like how easy it
Well,
is
it's so
to
bad
do
that like
that.
the ArriveCan app was more effective than this thing. Because
Oh my gosh.
at least someone else had to punch the number in.
Right. It's insanity. And then we talk about that and let me tell you something. This is to me the epicenter of where things are starting to go off the rails. When like my hometown is a very small, fairly, standard town, right? I think it's probably grown to like maybe 11,000 at this point, maybe 12,000, I don't know. Okay. I have I'm part of the Facebook groups, whatever. It's surprising how many break-in entries. Like I don't recall these. Like I've lived there my whole life. There has never been such a spike. Like we didn't have break-in
Oh
entries.
yeah.
Like we didn't have that. The Christmas parade the other weekend, I guess while everybody was out, a bunch of people went on a spree and bunch of houses got broken into.
Yep.
And when I think of that, I'm like, yeah, of course that seems really small when we talk about national public safety. But I was like, the that is the, the ripple effect of the same thing. Why would anybody be concerned about, going and breaking into somebody's house when they know, A, there's no accountability, like what's the worst that's going to happen to them? And B, some people, that's just what they've been taught to do. Oh, hey, it's mine for the taking.
It's almost like things changed drastically around 2015.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's
something.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Must have been our
Well,
podcast's fault. That's when we started, right?
yeah. It's totally
obviously.
us.
Either
Oh.
way, tolerance for that kind of thing on an all-time low.
No, that's fair, as it should be. Like, I mean, mostly you could just go to like most cities, major cities anyways, have their local crime stats map.
Oh, it's insane.
You should definitely go look at it because sometimes the stats are pretty freaking wild.
Well, especially if you look at like Brampton
Yes.
or
I was gonna
Mississauga,
say.
and like the entire map is red with dots.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, it's just wild. Like I'm trying to pull it up right now. And in a day, I'm seeing motor vehicle theft, motor
Yeah.
vehicle theft, motor vehicle theft, assault, assault, motor vehicle theft. That's in one day.
And yet the police still claim that they're there to enforce the law. In reality, they're like post-crime investigators. That's all they are now. They
Yeah.
they they barely are reactive. They're never
No.
proactive.
Possession of methamphetamines.
I'm really interested. I'd be really interested to know some of the data on like understaffing or overstaffing in, like lawmaking roles. Because I would assume that there is a lot of people that are getting fed up with the system and are just staying away from those professions. Like there was plenty of people that used to want to like join the military, be very patriotic. Now it's like I wouldn't want to go and
Yeah.
work for those people,
Well, I don't think
Yeah.
it's
right?
even a staffing issue at this point. It's the fact is that when they get hired and they get put on the roster, they're told what their priorities are. Their priorities might not
Yeah,
be crime prevention or might not be it'd be like
No,
revenue
it's revenue
generation via
generation for the state by
yeah, speed
issuing
traps,
tickets.
issuing like better
yeah,
your mother a whore than a traffic cop, they always say, right? But no, seriously, so it's like yeah, it's revenue generation. It is like picking on the
yeah,
wrong people, and it is
yeah,
basically community engagement via the LGBTQ parade attendance or the doing the dances in front of the stage and everything else. It has nothing to do
yeah.
with crime prevention. Or or
No,
or or
Well,
crime like like even in post crime investigation because like normally times like if your car gets broken into you'll just get a file number so you can file an insurance
yeah,
yeah.
claim. but there's no
Yeah.
investigation done.
No, because that's what I had to do, and they wouldn't even let me put the thing in on the phone. I had to do it online. And the only
Yeah.
response I got was the automated response telling me that my claim had been received and no follow-up.
Yep.
Luckily, the
Yeah.
iPad that was stolen out of my car, I found by turning on the location thing and finding it 8 houses down. But yeah, I'm looking right here. So in the last
Oh,
24 hours in Peel, so the entirety of Peel, so Brampton, Mississauga, and Caledon, there are one, two, three, four, five, six assaults. One,
in
two,
how long?
24 hours.
And
Ah,
how many of them did they stop mid assault, or how many
Well,
did
yeah,
they
six
attend
six
after the
I was
assault
gonna
was
assaults.
done?
say,
One, two, three, four,
Yeah.
five, six, seven, eight stolen cars. One guy getting busted for meth, and two robberies with a firearm.
Yeah. And I guarantee they attended to all of
guys,
them after the fact.
That's
that's not
24 hours.
including, guys, that's not including the assaults that happened for less than 9 seconds.
Yeah, those
And
don't count.
and
They're not assaults.
and I mean
That's not
Facebook
assault.
posts, like all
Yeah,
the hate on Facebook. You gotta like start arresting those people too, right? Like the do not
I
yeah.
know.
follows.
So yeah,
You
that's
know,
Yeah.
that
24 hours.
that's hate speech, right?
Hmm.
Like if I
Yeah.
go, for the month. So it went from like, that handful of dots to there is not a blank space in the entirety of the region, basically. There,
Well, I mean, based on their case clearing numbers, I'm sure they keep pace with that. And they don't have a
yeah,
backlog at all. They probably just like clear those every day, and probably return like lost puppies to people at the same time and all that stuff. Yeah.
Hmm.
yeah.
And don't get me wrong. Don't get me, don't get me wrong. I'm a supporter of people that, go into the service and stuff like that. I think that whoever's guiding them is
So yeah,
Well, because the
messy part
political
of that.
appointees in charge, right?
Yeah.
so the stats here for the month. So Peel Region again for the month. 311 assaults, 115 B&Es. I don't know what a DRP is, but there was 47 of those. I don't know what these other things are. Oh, 41 robberies, 245 vehicles stolen. So like it, and the solvency here. So
Oof.
of all of those crimes, 548 of them are ongoing. 378 of them have actually been solved, and 50 are considered unsolved. But if they just never close the case, then it'll stay in this ongoing.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Because to me, that's like 600 unsolved, 378 solved. Because like it's until it's solved, it's unsolved. But like that's crazy. So yes, I'm glad that we are taking public safety very seriously by continuing to work with countries that are proven to be untrustworthy. But then we also let that guy go with being able to carry a pistol, which
Yeah.
I mean that's a good precedent, though, really.
to me, that yes, that the reason that like we can now carry like tiny knives on planes is because of the Sikhs. The reason now that we can carry pistols is because the Sikh guy got let go.
Yeah.
So that's totally fine. Um, some really upsetting news though. Um, this whole interprovincial trade thing that we were supposed to get done by Canada Day, but it didn't. They're still trying to get that all sorted. But there are some people that are very unhappy about this. And those people are the people that make the alcohol.
The people that contribute
Yeah.
to the liberals, you mean?
Yes.
So
So
Well,
yes.
it's culture of microbrewing and micro distilling that's getting screwed over, right?
well, interestingly enough, so back in the day when Pierre Poilievre was campaigning for a failed campaign, and he was talking about how our best customer was internally in Canada because we have all these trade barriers between provinces and everything else, and the liberals promptly stole that idea and everything else. I don't think there's a politician that disagreed with the idea that we should knock down trade barriers. And
Yeah.
yet, for some reason, still, despite having 100% bipartisan agreement on this, we still have these
And a
provincial
promise that
trade
this would
agreement
be done by
problems.
Canada Day, which by my count was, just a
A few
little
months
while
Months
ago.
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 Yeah.
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 So I just don't understand how, like, even when all the politicians agree, not even for like, virtue signaling or anything else, they all agree that something needs to be done, and they still can't get it done
Which you
almost
would think would
overnight.
It,
just be the easiest thing to do is just don't charge taxes to people from other provinces.
But it goes
yeah,
against their
but
grain.
that's
They
a
just can't. They can't bring themselves
Yeah.
to do it.
what I guess that's my question though. Like, what is the profit that each province is incurring on some of this taxation?
Must be something juicy.
Right?
Although
It
maybe
must
it's
be.
just like the traffic cameras and they are totally like revenue neutral and they don't need anything except that now that it's gone, we're gonna have to fire a bunch of people in government. So maybe
Right.
it's the same thing where it's like, we could totally get rid of these taxes, except then we might have to fire people. Shit.
They
Right.
lose voters. Can't have that.
Yeah.
Well, because I mean, everything is provincially, like the liquor board. We've got the LCBO in Ontario, and then there's all the other provinces have their own thing,
Yeah.
right? So like, but I don't, I don't know what is it, the Ontario Liquor and Gaming Commission or whatever. I would assume that everybody's kind of licensed under that, like everybody in the province is licensed under that. Right? So it's not like the LCBO itself is controlling everything. That's just the vehicle that everything kind of is supposed to pass through. But is it just that they're finding too many independent retailers that are bypassing this, middleman? Like
I
it
think.
kind of alluded to that.
I think you just named a couple layers of government that could be removed completely and not have
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
negative effect on the public.
I agree with that, but that's kind of what I'm wondering is that if that's what the issue is that they're seeing this as like, okay, well, if we open the door to, like inter-province trade with no limitations, like redundancies will become very obvious.
What we need to
Yeah,
do is we need to go to Argentina and borrow his
Right.
chainsaw and
I
yeah.
come
know.
back here
And
and
just
just
start
like,
screaming "afuera."
yeah.
I mean, the fact
Yeah,
is that, like, again, you have to hit rock bottom before this ends.
I
And
know.
the thing is that there's absolutely no reason to have provincial liquor control laws at this point. And having, like, you look across the provinces across Canada on the other southern half of the country, it's like the age of majority is like 1918, 1918, all the way across the border, right, or across the country, right?
Yeah.
Like, why even that is different is beyond me. And so people are from
Yeah.
Ontario are racing to Quebec at age 18 and so on and so on. Like, this is silly. Like, I mean, you just have like a
If you can
standard.
vote, you should be able to drink.
A hundred
That's just
percent.
my,
Or you can give your life to your country as a soldier, or so on and so on,
yeah.
right? There's a
Yeah.
thousand reasons to not have different standards across the country. So, I mean, again, yeah, it's going to expose the inefficiency of government, and I guess they just can't have that because reasons. But
Yeah.
That would be my guess why this is becoming problematic is that and I am still so shocked and call me dumb, call me tired, I don't know, but I'm still so shocked that there is such a willingness to believe campaign promises.
well,
Like,
so yeah,
Yeah.
it's like timeshare salesmen, right? Like
yeah,
you want to believe that they're going to pull through on their promises. And so you sign on the dotted line, you cast your vote, whatever, and then it
You
comes
get
almost
your
as a
free
shock.
Disney tickets and
Yeah, so on and so on, and yet it does not come to fruition, and you're like genuinely surprised. I don't understand how this can happen over and over again, and people
yeah,
are still sucked into the same old, right?
I guess because like every year in theory
sorry,
there are new people that haven't voted yet and haven't been burned.
I guess.
And new politicians that actually think the system works too,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
astounding.
till they learn how it actually works. But I mean, I yeah, there's such a reset needed on so many levels. It's not even funny. All
Yeah.
peaceably, of course. I'm just saying, like, just
Yes, it's
yes.
very, very
I
peaceably.
still maintain feudal state. Doesn't
Yeah.
have to be peaceable in my world.
I
Doesn't have
mean,
to be peaceable.
if that's the only
I'm not
way.
I was gonna say, I'm not condoning violence, but I
But I'm
do
also not
believe,
opposed to it. Yeah.
yeah, it's like, but I do believe that there's something to be said for people that have to fight for what they want and what they believe is right. And
And
Canada's
hold
been
on to what
really
they have.
negligent.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Canada's been absolutely negligent in this. And I don't care, like you
Well,
can poo-poo the states, you can poo-poo like different different countries that had colonialism, different, but Canada has not really fought a battle at this point and has not really understood, the culture that kind of goes with that.
so
Yeah.
And
just
I
on that,
think that that's pretty evident.
I've been selling off a few things on Facebook Marketplace, and I ran into some very interesting people lately. One of the ones is a couple from Belarus who would
Ooh,
who told me right off the bat this that if it wasn't for their kids being here, they'd be back in Belarus today. However, their kids are on
wow.
the island here and everything else. However, they said basically this is their perspective as new Canadians. And I was just chatting with them because we'd been to a few of the same places and stuff, and they were basically saying that Canada hasn't had it bad enough or suffered enough to know how bad it can get.
Yeah.
And when you're at the peak of civilization or peak of like supply and services and food availability and everything else, you only have one direction to go, and it's down. And we haven't gone far down enough to actually like realize that is the
Mm.
system in
Yeah.
place is not working. And he says until they experience full communism, things will never get better. And
Yeah.
Yep.
And the sad thing though is because I've seen this, like when I've gone to Albania, so they had full communism for
yeah,
quite a while, and it hasn't been that long that they have, thrown off those shackles. And there are still people there that are like, we need communism. You're like,
what?
what? Like your parents were alive, like you might not have been, but they were alive for a good chunk of their life under this system. You know
Yeah,
how
but
bad it is. Like, oh,
here's
it
the thing is
blows my
that,
mind. Like,
well, I think it's just a narrow thought. And, you know, there's something to the expansion of information accessibility that is good, like making that a little bit more accessible to everybody. But it's also kind of bad because there's no filter as to like information that people should be receiving. It's just a deluge of like all the information, right?
yeah,
So you have people getting, and there's not really any adjudication. It's all like based on social, response. If somebody is shamed enough, then they're going to stop posting on social media for the most part. If somebody is celebrated enough, they're going to continue posting on social media. And
Well,
that's where, unfortunately, that's where people are getting their news,
and
right?
algorithms
yeah,
feed back to what you want to see, right?
yeah,
Absolutely. It's such an echo chamber, and something that I've like recently encountered, and I've had a chat, a couple of chats about this, is this idea of like, yeah, okay, we think that the CBC is trash. I think most people would agree with that at this point.
yeah,
And mainstream media is very unreliable because it's backed by a lot of things. But what's our alternative? Sure, there's a couple of independent news things, that
yeah,
sort of thing. But there's also this like wildly outrageous amount of data that's coming in from people who are generally opinionated and biased, and I'm one of them, opinionated and biased. So that means that the information that they are presenting is also of that ilk, right? But that's where they're swinging the pendulum in the opposite direction, and all of that information is creating just this havoc in fact, right? Because you watch a 7 to 9 to 12 minute or 12-second clip, and you're like, oh, somebody took that piece of history and that must be true. They're talking about this element of history. That must be true. And it's like, are you sure it's true, or are you sure it's a clip of something that has been made to fit into a narrative, whether far right or far left? I don't care. The point is that our distrust of mainstream media, our distrust of politicians has pushed us into this sphere of, you know, ambiguous public opinion that is generally not factual, but we're swallowing it like mad. So, of course, these people that don't know how to crack a book or don't know how to trail through a story to find, data that collaborate, they're taking people's word at it. So they don't really know what communism is. They don't
Right.
really know what, like historically the signs are of that or what the repercussions of it are. And, economically, they don't really understand that all of this, like your geopolitics, your socioeconomics, like all of that, like builds a bigger story. They don't get that, right?
Well, and
They're looking
amazingly
at
enough,
it
they
nine
go to
seconds at
Grok.
a time.
They go to Grok for fact checking, and Grok is, of course, programmed by certain people. It's gonna have a certain
Absolutely.
slant, right? And it's
Yeah.
like when I was
Yeah.
chatting with these people from Belarus. I mean, I was talking about my relatives, and of course, they were on the opposite end of the spectrum than these people during the war.
Yep.
And they're like, "Oh yeah, we know your story. We know exactly how things went down on your side of the family and everything else." And yet, you ask the average person about what happened during those times, and they'll have a completely different perspective on it because of Grok or Wikipedia or whatever,
Yeah.
which is edited by the politically
User, like
relevant.
public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and this is
Well,
the thing is that, like I get sent messages by some people and I totally get the intention. There's frustration. There is anger, there is frustration, absolutely. But people are turning to like social media and, seeing things like this. If I could like pipe dream, I would just tell everybody to like get off your phones and just like run for your local government. Work for that. Work towards changing your local government because that's something you can do right now, right?
Like,
That's the only way to kind of like sort that shit out.
see how
Because
or
the
take
sausage
up
is made.
arms and install yourself as your local neighborhood warlord, and let's get back to a feudal
love
and
it.
society.
and
Love
eventually
it.
swear allegiance to the greater king of the greater area.
Yes,
Give me
you will
be a
have
Yes.
to
lord.
either conquer or work with your neighbors.
Yeah.
Yes. But that's the whole point though, right? Is that it's like, hey, just get your head out of the news for a bit because it's bogging people down and they're
Yeah,
getting like shit history, they're getting shit social direction. Like
yeah,
the fact that people don't know what communism is, it's like, I don't know, there's just a few decades of, history there that is very
okay,
intertwined with this concept. So,
yeah,
maybe figure that out. Maybe figure that out.
yeah. And for the record, we at least admit that we are biased.
Yeah,
Don't
absolutely.
try to pretend.
Everybody is, but the thing
Yeah,
Yes,
it's like you have to like temper your bias by having multiple sources of information. Like like some
yes,
people
absolutely.
only watch
but
CBC.
but
These
even just admitting that you are biased
Yes,
openly is light years beyond the CBC, who
oh
just pretends to still be all about the facts when it is
bipartisan.
nothing
Yeah,
nothing but. It's like
yeah.
this
yeah.
is garbage.
Well,
Uh,
and that is kind of like a key thing is that as soon as you kind of say, "Hey, I'm aware that I'm biased," you start looking at things a little bit differently. Where you're like, am I just like absorbing this information or is it true? You start looking at stuff like that. I'm still going to be biased, but I might look at something and be like, meh, I can see somebody's perspective. I don't agree with it, but you
yeah,
know.
no, but that's
Anyways,
how people
I could
should be.
rant about this for a long time. Let me drink
That's
my
all right.
really high octane cider instead.
We've got one last one to rant about here.
Love it.
The new secularism bill to ban prayer in schools, restrict offerings of religious-based meals. So Quebec has a new bill that is about to be tabled. Apparently, that is got rules for public institutions, including a ban on prayer rooms in universities and restricting the
Seja.
offering of religion-based meals.
I'm
So
not
almost
gonna
like a
lie, super on board with it.
separation of church and state. That sounds like something to
Well,
go
I
for.
know it's
I
just
know
weird that like Quebec is the one.
Quebec
Like I
is,
know that they did the
do you know
thing
why
like a
it
while
is?
ago for it was like public servants aren't supposed to show any religious paraphernalia whilst at work, and now it's expanding it.
It's because they've probably encountered some pretty questionable scenarios. But here's the caveat, right? Because here's the difference. It's talking about a public system. So
Yeah.
that's not saying like, hey, you can't have private education systems
Yes.
that are, because I
And
don't actually know about any other religion that does this, but I'm sure there is one. Oh, that's not true. Like I think Judaism has their own education system, and
Yep.
I know that there's like private Christian schools, things
Yeah.
like that. That's not what they're talking about. Like they're not talking about those because those are privatized,
Yes.
right? And funded by,
The
you know,
people that
whether it's the
attend it,
Catholic
in which
Church
case then
or
they
it's
can
whoever's attending.
wear whatever they want. They can have
They
whatever
can.
meals they want.
But I will tell you, I've encountered quite a bit of this myself
Well,
recently in the recent months, and I'll tell you, it's something else.
well,
Well,
I
same
mean, yeah,
same. Yeah, like
it's
meals at work for me is like
Yeah.
they people are always asking, is it halal? Is it
Oh,
kosher? Is it whatever? And I'm like, it shouldn't matter. It's the meal.
well,
yeah.
like your work shouldn't like okay, depending on exactly what it is. Like certain things, it's like I mean, I provide meals for my employees when they are like away from home for extended
Sure.
periods of time. Now I just give them money and then they
Yeah.
can buy whatever they want with it, and I don't care as long as it fits within the rules,
Sh
which is maybe an
yeah.
easier way of solving the problem rather than here's the food. Because if you start getting into the religious things, it could get
Well,
very complicated. And it's like, well, it's not my obligate. Like, okay, I may be obligated to provide you with a meal option
yeah.
because
So,
the nature of the job and like how it works and everything, right? But yeah, do I have to like acquiesce to your ridiculous nonsense about it? Or is like, here's your option. If you don't like it, bring your own damn food.
so this is the thing is that I think that what's happening is that we're losing the core element of a lot of institutions because we're so busy trying to accommodate everyone instead of saying, "Hey, you don't align with what we align with." That's okay. No judgment.
Yeah.
Like, don't hesitate to go and start your own thing, right?
Yeah,
Because we can't do for
absolutely.
everyone,
Yeah.
right?
And this is
And
where
that's
like, yeah, public places
the
should
problem.
be as
You're right.
un,
Public,
Like
yeah,
I
non-denominational.
have
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
I like that. I have family that a slew of dietary restrictions. And you know what? There's always a question like, "Hey, is there an option for this?" And if not, it's like, "Well, hey, I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to bring my own food." You
Yeah.
know?
But
Like, and to
interestingly
me,
enough,
that's okay.
like from a
I'm
historical
like, bring
perspective,
your own stuff.
although I totally agree with this like separation of church and state, that's fantastic. However, under the tenets of communism, is officially atheist, right?
yeah.
So it
Yeah.
depends on how you
Yeah.
want to look at it. I mean, this might
Well,
be
and
another angle on communism, the fact that basically they're just saying, well, no prayer, no
well, and so
meals.
and this is where like I think in some ways this is good, in other ways it is bad. So I think if like here it drives me
Mhm.
crazy that like we have the public school board and then we have the Catholic school board that also gets public funding.
Yeah.
And it's like,
That
okay, in
Uh,
order
um,
to have the Catholic school board get the public funding, they've also had to like agree to some ridiculousness.
yeah.
But like that kind of goes against their religion in some things because they have to teach them about other religions and do all this and it's just
Yeah.
like, no, if you want a Catholic school, it should be totally funded by the people that go there. If you want a Muslim school, if you want Jewish school, if you want whatever school, or just a private school because you think that the public school system is terrible. Have all of those things and just pay for it yourself. I
Yeah.
don't think in the public setting that this stuff should be there, but I do think they go a little bit too far here when they are saying that like public prayer
I mean, I
isn't
think
allowed
that
because
it's
public spaces are public spaces and I can do with
but
them. Now,
mm,
you can't just like hey, we're gonna just go and block a street and do a prayer here. But then you're
or
also like, maybe
or
that's a
block a Christmas
protest,
market. Yeah.
or do
well,
like so there.
this is the problem is that this is a really iffy situation because you do want to
Yeah,
be able to say, hey, like freedom of religion, freedom of expression,
yes,
all these things. Like you want to say that. Unfortunately, what's happening is that there's a couple of demographics of people that
yes,
are abusing this power and using it as an authoritative, like power over you kind of,
yes.
move.
Social
But
Like they're
social
using it as a
if it
power
hammer.
goes
play.
through
Yeah.
like this, in
Yeah.
theory, the person that goes and does their thing in the public park, even though it doesn't bother anybody,
Yeah.
could be arrested, and that's a
Yeah.
problem.
I absolutely agree it is. And but this is also another example of okay, so we do this in business fairly often too. When you have a problem with one person, you address the whole team in relatively ambiguous language.
Yes.
Oh, guys, we need to do better doing this, blah, 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 blah. And it's a really
Yeah,
pansy
I had
response,
to
but
send
here's the
out a stinky
problem.
person email that I had to send out to
Absolutely.
everybody. Yeah.
Right. And I mean, it's the most bullshit thing, but we've all had to do it because the problem is that you point your finger at the one person that's creating the problem,
Yeah.
and you get either like bullying charges or harassment or,
Yeah. Or you're
like
racist,
threats.
you're
Yeah,
religiousist or whatever. Like,
all these things, right? And instead of saying like, yeah, maybe I am. Maybe this is you just being a
yeah.
dickhead and I want you to stop doing that. Everybody kind of suffers, right?
Yeah.
And that's essentially what's happening.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
And
you'd
it
have to
just
see how they word all of this, and like it does say that there will be exempt or exceptions provided. So
yeah,
maybe that's for like if you're just a person all on your own that's doing your thing and you can't
yeah,
even really tell, then like go do your thing and you're not bothering anybody, then it's fine. But if it's
yeah.
like,
But stuff like this, what's going to happen is that people are going to start playing the blame game because you know what it's about, like the undertones
yeah,
of it, and you're going to start a culture war with shit like this
yeah,
because like
well,
that's just how it works. And I don't know. I think the government is trying to now police our morality, and
yeah, when
I think that there's a time and a place for a few different things, but I think that you got to be really careful because it's a slippery slope, and I do not
yeah.
trust politicians
Oh,
to adhere to
hell no.
like, well, I mean, we don't really have like, so we have the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, but like nobody knows it, nobody listens to it, nobody pays attention to it. It's not
Well,
structured in a
and
way
it's,
that
to
people
be
are like,
honest,
"Hey,
not
this
worth
is
the
our
paper that
guiding
it's written
principle."
on.
Well, that's
Yeah,
exactly it. It's like not the
it has no
guiding
teeth.
principle. Yeah.
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 So
Well, that, and
so
like,
of
not that I
course, like as
don't,
soon as you
yeah.
change government, like
Well,
people
and
are
it's like
making up their own,
yeah, the problem
guiding
is that
principles.
like and I don't necessarily disagree with that it's there, but like the notwithstanding clause
Hmm.
invalidates the whole document really, because you could
Yeah.
just go, yeah, but anyways, we're gonna not do that, right?
Yeah, because but
But
basically it's virtue signaling as soon as you put in a notwithstanding clause.
but
It'd
you
be intent.
also kind of need one for those times when it's something stupid where you're like, I know what this says, but like you're clearly like violating all of this, but not,
Hmm.
and that is not acceptable, right? Like, and it always seems like we've said earlier today, politicians always do like the right thing, but in the worst way possible. I think that is one of those things where it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
we have this clause, and like absolutely when we should use it, like, to protect children from pedophiles, we should absolutely be using it because that is what it is for, but we don't use it. But then at other times we're like, yeah, we're gonna just do this, and yeah, it's not a violation of your rights to just make your life very difficult for a number of years, and if you don't get a experimental medical procedure, um, you may not be able to do anything.
Do you know what's really
Hypothetically, of course, because I'm not talking about anything that happened because I wouldn't want us to get a strike against us on the channel. This is
Yeah,
pure
no.
speculation and hypotheticals here.
In Minecraft.
Yes.
yeah, in said video game world, um in a different realm, they
Yeah.
actually advertise it as a jab. Like I've seen it on billboards.
Well,
Like it's funny because that language is like slur but not.
yeah. Weird. Well, that's all the ranting I have for today.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
good time.
Yeah. But yeah, it's weird that I'm agreeing with something that Quebec is doing because normally they're the worst. Um, but yeah, when you're not here ranting about things, where can people find you or not find you, Liz?
Preferably don't find me. I don't really want to talk to more people.
That's fair.
That's the most honest answer I've heard in a while.
Yeah. Ian, what about you?
It's 3:30 in the morning. I'm done.
Don't even give them a time zone, then they can narrow it down.
Yeah, exactly.
Really? Can they?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, well, you can find me normally when we're not canceling episodes left, right, and center. Sunday evenings, 9 p.m. Eastern on YouTube. It'd be Canadian Prepper Podcast, where I'm trying to educate the folks right now. I've got a episode of the can for precious metals, but nobody wants to talk about it right now. If you want to find me on X, you can find me at islandretreatbc.com or at islandretreatbc. I think, sorry, not no .com. And if you want to email me, it's theislandretreat@gmail.com.
Awesome. You can find me on Instagram, UrbexGTA. That's about the only place really you can find me these days. Apparently, we also value
Oh,
your opinion. So please visit CanadianPatriotPodcast.com/feedback or
don't.
email us at feedback@CanadianPatriotPodcast.com. Those may or may not work. Apparently we're back on the Discord again and have been for a while. I guess some of the people are on there occasionally selling memes that may or may not get them arrested in this country or others. Also,
Also, those
apologies.
links don't
Yeah,
work intentionally.
yeah. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Um, maybe they just get you put on a watch list.
I'm here
Apologies to
for it.
Rod. He didn't make it onto the show. He was too busy just trying to decide whether BC does or does not need a pipeline. He's undecided at the moment, but he is open to hearing people's opinions. I would
Can't get
also
this
like
Paisley,
to,
we can't get
yeah,
this Paisley shirts without oil. I'm just saying.
exactly. I'd also like to remind everyone that you are a small fringe minority with